Many people assume that they have a divine power. There is an underlying feeling of, I'm special. I've got a specialness about me, and I don't know what to do about it. It seems to be that this godlike power is accepted as being within all of us, and we only have to access it to find it. This isn't true at all. If we have any power at all, then we need to find what it is we can do to make a bit of a difference to the world and to our own lives by accessing something that, yes, may be unique to us, but which doesn't carry us into this fantastical world of, look at me, I'm far more special than everyone else. And this is what I mean when I say a narcissistic attitude is out there in the world, and it's certainly within the New Age industry big time. I know it's infiltrating many areas of life today, but in the New Age industry and in the neo-shamanic industry, it seems that you are expected to be able to attain these great heights of power, to put yourself on a level with some superpower which you may make believe has been here in many ancient people. Now, this is a common narcissistic misconception about the ancient world. The ancient tribal world was full of the natural world, wherein lay the real divine power. No one back in those times would have dreamed of assuming that the human mortal world was actually greater than the natural world. The ancient world was not full of people who had divine power. It was not full of super egos. In what I term primary organic culture, any power or divinity in any one individual was usually reserved for medicine people. And I'm not here talking about self-appointed and sometimes quite glamorous wannabes who indulge in cultural appropriation. Primary organic minds didn't function in that way. There existed a very different concept of what power was in much earlier tribal times. They were wholly dependent on the natural world, which of course we still are, except we don't think we need to be. They knew that humans would never survive without the natural world, which of course we no longer seem to believe. Through the Paleolithic age, thousands and thousands of years ago, hunter-gatherers remained largely unchanged, and that went on for many thousands of years. And yet there was quite an intelligent sophistication about them. They weren't ignorant and stupid, but at the same time, they didn't seem to run away with their egos, lording it over all other species on Earth. In fact, the other beings that shared Earth with them were extremely well cared for. We need to remember that the ancient world was far more simple and extremely un-narcissistic, if that's a word. Because today we are all feeling that we're alone in the world, then whatever field we go into, we naturally assume, well, we assume all sorts of things that are not humanly possible. For a start, we believe that we should feel stronger than we are. more expert, more superhuman than we are. And we believe that that is inbuilt in us, and we only have to tap it with a little bit of a magic wand, and then it'll come out. Inner divinity is an entirely human invention, born of religious concepts regarding human superiority. But are we superior? Are we really greater than the earth? It isn't our fault that we feel so small and insignificant in such a large universe, ending up with a dire need to belong and to mean something in this life. It's because we've become so overpopulated, a consequence of civilized living, and this causes egos to balloon out of control. But are we really comfortable with such power? It seems that people want to resonate with their specialness and divinity, but they seem to want it to be largely unnoticeable. For who'd really want to draw attention to singular greatness? Might we therefore feel ashamed of the way we've become? I believe we've become so uncomfortable about our inner greatness that we've been obliged to normalize it. You wouldn't believe how many people write to me and say, I know I'm gifted, and this gift is just waiting to express itself. And when they say gift, they don't mean anything that's a skill that's personal to them, such as a creative ability, such as something they might have to work on, something they have to develop and refine. So that they can practice something. What they mean is there's something that is automatic, just like that. I tap it and there it is. And of course, this has clearly been influenced by our technological age. We can look up literally anything today and find answers, find out what something's all about. We now live in an age of information, therefore, rather than an age of knowledge and wisdom. But does this age of information make us happy? Are we more in touch with each other, let alone our natural environment? Can we talk to each other without using a technological device? Sadly, this very same principle applies to our spiritual and emotional lives, and also to our relationship with the natural world. No wonder the self is now considered divine and above all things on earth. Compare this with the idea of working at things, particularly relationships. We're no longer working at anything, developing or refining anything. And when it comes to relationships, well, our age of information has clearly done a lot of damage. This great something is there for the taking, because they do firmly believe that they are godlike in status, because this is what they have been taught to feel. I don't know who by, but they're certainly not me. And I tend to get a bit of a bad reputation for telling them that this isn't the way it is. This isn't what life is about. If we want to develop any kind of psychic ability, any kind of seership, we need to learn the craft, get down to some practical hard graft. Because there's no gift of the Spirit that's going to come to us in a flash of blinding light. It never did happen that way, and it's not likely to change. Just because we are convinced of our innate divinity, our godlike status, our inner specialness. And so when I come in and tell them, look, you don't have to be special, you don't have to rise to great heights and prove that you're this great superman or superwoman of a person and you can heal everyone and you can do this and that and everything else. When I tell them this, they suddenly have the attitude, well, you don't understand. Well, you're just jealous. Well, why don't you think like all the others think. What's wrong with you? Aren't you supposed to be a medicine man? Yes, and medicine men and women worth their salt would sort of look at you a little bit uncomfortably if you're talking like this. And they would actually want to maybe make a few adjustments for you, put you on the right path, where you become just a simple, humble human being again. Because that's where healing lies. That's where all your answers lie. While some can believe when I look at them I see this, as a medicine person, I'm actually seeing this. Their frustration, their despair, inadequacy, lack of purpose, their confusion, their need to belong. It's part of my job to help people with their confusion, if they'll allow me. Fortunately, some do, and today we would certainly benefit by asking questions rather than assuming we have all the answers. As a medicine man, I don't need to pay homage to today's ideas of glamour and perfection. I don't need to aspire to be like this. In fact, my attitude needs to be something like this. I adopt what I've been taught, that you must remain largely unobtrusive while exercising humility and modesty, leaving any power and any divinity where it should naturally be, with the natural world. Isn't this what we're supposed to do when crossing the bridge of this journey called life? Aren't we better remaining aware of our simple destiny as we cross the hurdles and jump over the obstacles? So, narcissism, where are we going with this? Where are we going with this? And this world is just being shaped daily, more and more, by this narcissistic attitude that is stealing over the whole globe at the moment. The self is at the top of the list, and rather than community. And I don't like it one bit. I really don't like it. It's just not anywhere near what it used to be. Always remember, the natural world is primary, human beings are secondary. Have a reflect on what I've talked about here and comment if you like. But thanks for listening, as always.